Hi, peace be upon you, folks. This is my Twitter page. I want to talk about a dream I had, which I think now I've been believing that it may relate to the coronavirus, but that belief has been getting stronger and stronger with more information. So, yes, on my Twitter and in most of my social media, like with many other people, um, I do a lot of guesswork. Sometimes you will see gematria and other things, right? And sometimes I just come up with the data that I think makes sense. But I'm not a prophet. I never claim to be a prophet. I believe most times I'm being guided by God to certain things, to see certain things, to see certain connections, and to try to arrive at interpretations. And one of the things I believe the Lord has led me to is what I call the magic matrix. In this, I believe that most of what they do is a ritual, and the media is sort of like the platform where they announce the ritual, because it's not a ritual if people don't partake in it, right? So they have to put something in the media. So just before the pandemic or plandemic, if you were following scientific news, you would have found out about xenobots, which are programmable organic matter. So they're organic matter, but they're programmable. So they're sort of like nanobots, little robots that are the size of the components in a cell. They're smaller than a cell, but they're programmable. So for me, I mean, I had already um, in my search and the different things the Lord has guided me to and opened my heart to, I already believed that um, there was an agenda. It's not. I mean, it's not just a depopulation agenda. And it's not like it's not about tooting my own horn, but sometimes I think I have a perspective that's very unique, and sometimes it coincides with some other perspectives, and I think the Lord uses that to tell me that yes, there is some truth to what you're thinking, because most of what I arrive at, it's not because I get some kind of like people say they hear voices, right? It's just something. Sometimes it just makes sense to me. For example, I think if I can think about something, then Satan should be able to think about it too, because I'm in the fallen state, whereas um, I believe Satan asked for reprieve, and I have a video on that. The video is titled something along the lines of "The devil falls and the spirit of Adam descends." So we had fallen, whereas the devil, when we resurrect, when we are resurrected and given life and we ascend once more, because which is I think is an interpretation of the spirit of Adam descending upon us, because Adam was taught the names of all things. So for me, that's like the birth of the Messiah, kind of. But that's not what this topic is about. So yes, on my Twitter page, you will find a lot of things about guesswork, but sometimes I stick to certain hashtags. And sometimes I also put an accompanying hashtag that I say hashtag dream, because it's something that relates to a dream I had. And sometimes my dreams, I don't remember all the details. So sometimes I try to think, is this a prophetic dream or not? So I'm sometimes a little bit, what is the word? I'm not very confident that it's a prophetic dream, and the interpretations are not usually they're usually symbolic. So sometimes it takes time to unlock some of the symbols and understand what it may mean, right? So yeah, for example, so I was talking about the magic matrix, and in my search and the way the Lord had guided me, there was somebody, I'm forgetting his name right now, but he had a YouTube channel. I think he's a Buddhist guy. Maybe you would know him. He usually shaves his head, shaves his eyebrows. He's into computers. He's into artificial intelligence. He was trying to create an artificial intelligence, like a Buddhist god. But he opened me up to a few things about artificial intelligence. He was in with the Team Tyler hashtag. So there are some people who may know about that. If you don't know about don't if you do not know anything about that, then that's okay. It has nothing to do with this. But one thing I learned from him was that we are we are all training the AI, and it makes sense, right? If you want to have a god AI, it needs to be trained in every aspect of human life, the psychology of human beings. That's why I think some of the people who say they're prophets, I believe the AI is using them to learn certain things, to get data and all that. So most of what we see in the world, whether it's wars, whether it's catastrophes, weather, I believe the AI has to train in every aspect. So that's just data, right? So for me, I try to, because we all have a digital image, right? So I try to put my own effort, even if it's not because of getting many people who like me or find out about my page, right? But maybe there's an impact at the artificial intelligent level. So, for example, I tell you that I use the word magic matrix a lot. If I go to like my Twitter page and I search, I put in my Twitter handle, Seeking Just Path, and I put hashtag magic matrix. I used to call it the false matrix before, but now I call it mostly the magic matrix. So you would find older posts in which it's false matrix. So sometimes if I forget or I don't want to go through all my posts, right? But I know I had posted something in the past that relates to something. I try to remember a hashtag I used. I go through this method and I search for it, right? So I believe the AI is also training in that method. So for example, if you ask the computer something, its opinion about something, it would want to look for words that relates to that thing and opinions and all that. So in a way, this is something like that. You're creating a library, right? Even if whether it's for human beings or AI, but even for yourself. So I have a lot of things about the magic matrix, right? I talk a lot about the magic matrix because I believe this is their method. I have a video on it in which I explained it into more detail. So sometimes I would see something in the news, right? And then I would go through this method and search for a post I had made earlier, and then I would attach that link, right, to that new post. So that's what I did in this Menace Monkey post that is my main topic. But let's just say dream, for example, right? So if I do that, a lot of posts come up in a dream. That's a talk about a dream, and this is from May 2020. Where I say the dream may be Iran, right? Um, okay, so I talk about Iran burns. In this particular dream that I talk about Iran, sometimes I use also playing with fire because I think maybe it relates to playing with fire. So you know what? Let me just put playing with fire because the dream I had, which How many years ago was that? It was just before I left Minnesota in 2017, before I came back home to Sierra Leone. So in the dream, um, there was like a sea of liquid. It was dark liquid, and I'm thinking it's something like crude oil, right? That's my thinking. And there was a woman, but the figure of a woman emerging from the sea of it. So she was covered in all the oil, the dark oil, but she was holding like a small flame, like a match, like you light a match, and she was holding that. And I was very confused as to why she would be playing with fire whilst when she's surrounded by all that fuel, when she's surrounded by all that crude oil, right? So I try to calmly stretch my hand and take the fire from her because this seemed like a risky thing to do. And she gave me the match. And I was trying to put the match away, but then everything caught fire. So it's sort of like I've had several interpretations of that dream later. I still don't know the exact interpretation, or if I could consider it a prophetic dream, in fact. But one interpretation I had was that, some the Christians say the Lord is a consuming fire, right? So she may be what some people would call Sophia, right? The spirit of wisdom. I mean, I've had several interpretations, but there's a thing with the magic matrix, and but there's also the true matrix of God. So maybe in one heaven there are several heavens, and if I'm confusing you right now, then I'm sorry. Then it doesn't relate to the main topic. But if you go to my where I talk about the magic matrix, I also talk about the true matrix, right? In which there is the throne of God, and then there are the seven heavens. So whenever a command descends from the throne, each heaven has the way it's inspired, the set of laws that maintain that heaven. So when the commands descend, they are interpreted by the laws of that heaven. So in one heaven, it may be that, yes, it's a spirit, but in another heaven, it may just be that there's a particular nation that is maybe Israel or whatever that is sitting on oil, right, and is playing with fire or whatever. But yeah, so I have a lot of, every time I see incidents, like for example, this says about 200 oil trucks caught fire in missile attacks, and it took 20 hours to bring the blazes out. And then sometimes you hear China accusing the United States of playing with fire. So I catalog it that way, right? And like I said, Sophia, the woman, right, the spirit of wisdom. So here I was talking about Turkish magazine calls for revival of caliphate amid Hagia Sophia conversion. So I put it there so that maybe when I get a better interpretation, I come back and I say, oh, okay, maybe this is what it means, right? So I have a few on that. So let's go back to the dream hashtag. So yes, that's where this dream hashtag came from, and most times I also add playing with fire. It's relating to that dream. And this is the dream about the Menace monkey, right? And this was my latest post 32 minutes ago. And today is Saturday, July 31st, 7:18 a.m., right? The other dream I had, okay, this was the dream. Another dream I have relates to time reversal, I think, right? So, for example, here I talk about a dream I had in which I had I said I had a dream a few years back. It had a few parts, but in one part it should say. Sometimes I use this swipe typing, so sometimes it autocorrects and I don't reread it. But when I read it later, I don't want to go back and delete it sometimes because it's like, okay, I posted it a while ago. If I put it now, it would look like, it's a new post, whereas I had posted it a while ago. So this post was in May of 2020, and I attached another post here from the February the 15th of 2020. So in this dream, right, I said I passed by two children that were playing on the floor. And then I just passed them, right? So I passed them and I met my two relatives, my aunt and my uncle. They both live in New Jersey, so and they're related, right? They're brother and sister. So I guess that I was in New Jersey, right? Okay, actually, this is not a dream that deals with that deals with time reversal. This is a dream that deals with what I call the two siblings of destruction. So let me see, because I guess that the children playing, and because when I saw my relatives, they looked depressed. They looked sad in a silent, quiet mode, right? So I guess that the children playing represented siblings of destruction, right? So on that time, the first time I posted it, here it is. It was June of 2017, wherein I said, East Coast, I think you're about to be visited by two siblings of destruction. And then when the when the when the storms came, Kyra and Dennis, because they were a boy and a girl. The girl seemed older that were playing. Right? When the storms came, I thought they represented the two siblings of destruction. I still don't think that's what it meant. I think maybe it doesn't even have to do with the storms, maybe. Or maybe it's something else, right? But I still leave it there because I don't know. Maybe with time I get to understand it better. So that's one of the other dream. Um, Maybe I can find a dream that deals with time reversal. I don't know if I posted it on Twitter. Uh, but in the dream, basically, okay, this is another dream about church burning. All right, I'll tell you the dream about time reversal. Maybe I should just put it there, time reversal. So, okay, this was. Maybe I can filter it so that it gives me the. Okay, nope. I thought maybe I'll do it so that it gives me the oldest one first. Um, but basically, in the dream, I was with a companion, and I didn't want to waste his time. But I also wanted to go back to some of the places I had been before, just reminisce before we went ahead on our journey. And just as I was about to, decide, the dream moved to us starting to go down the path. And as we were going down the path, well, I shouldn't say going down. It makes me. We were walking a path, right? We came across some people, and they were covering their faces. If I remember correctly, in fact, some of them, it looked like their faces were blank, like like it was just a blank face. There was no face, like just a. I don't know why I should, what's the best example. Maybe like the Matrix movie when they did to Neo with when they sealed his mouth and it looked like he didn't have any mouth, but the whole face was kind of like a blank thing. But then we crossed them, and then we we came to some kids that were in a playground, like how these playgrounds are surrounded by like a fence, but these see-through fence, right, like wires, right? And it was dark, and so I was thinking, why would kids be playing out at night? Where are the parents? So in fact, I have another hashtag where I say, where where are the parents? Maybe I didn't hashtag it. Maybe I just, okay, there it is. Yeah, exactly. This is the dream with the time reversal. All right. So this was 17th of January. There you go. So this was when I posted it. No, this was actually 2021. This was when I posted it. Yeah, because that's when I created the video on the time reversal. Okay. But basically, I was wondering where are the parents. Then at the end of the road, there was a house. In this house, I could see myself, I could see my mom, and I guess there were some other people. We were sitting around the table, and my mom was standing as if she was serving us food, but we were just sitting. It looked like a dining table, so I assumed she was serving us food. But I was excited. I'm like, oh, I could see myself in there. So I was tapping the glass, thinking I would call out to them so they would see me, like, hey, I'm here and I can see you. But then, as soon as I started tapping and they were not turning, it's like they couldn't notice that somebody was tapping the glass. Then I started realizing that maybe they shouldn't even know I'm there. So I said to the companion I was with, he's an old friend, we grew up together. I said to him, I said, oh, I think we've come to the past and we need to return. So we started running, and then I started getting afraid, and then there were two people chasing us, but they were in a vehicle and the guy was driving. I assumed it was like a witch or something related to witchcraft or magic or something like that. But then as we were running, there was the car was no more. It was just a lady chasing us on foot. And then she was catching up with us, right? It's like somebody say your past always catches up to you or whatever. So my companion was a little bit in front, and I was trying to tell him we should stop, but without using words, just like a thought, like we should stop and fight her together or something. But by the time we both stopped, she was too near, so I had to like fight her, right? And I was so scared, and I punched her really hard with everything I had. And you know how in a dream you're supposed to be paralyzed, but in fact I punched my bed and my hand was hurting for a while. So I didn't take that as time travel, because with other things I had been led to, I think by the Lord, I hope, I have this belief that there is a time when it's like when the portal is opened, right, for the command to descend. Like I said earlier, the spirit of Adam descends. So when that portal opens, it's almost like you're synchronized in time to the time of Eden or the time of the fall, right? So it's almost like it's a time reversal. You're not going back in time, you're in the same time, but you reverse time. And I think Tenet explained it the best. But I had talked about time reversal even before Tenet. But it's like you're in the present, but you're also reversed in time, right? So I think maybe the time was catching up. Like I said, the woman could represent one thing in one heaven, but another thing, right, in another heaven. So maybe it was time catching up. Maybe the woman represented my spirit, like the thing that makes me whole. Like the Gospel of Thomas says, you were whole, you were one, you were whole, right? Then you became two, you became divided. So because we are not whole, we are not complete, right? We are fallen, right? But eventually it has to catch up with us, because when the synchronicity comes into play, right? When those two times intersect. So anyway, usually this is what I usually do with my Twitter, right? So anyway, I don't need to go through all of my dreams, but some hashtags relates to dreams. In this dream, for example, I thought I saw snow. It may just have been ice, but I thought I saw snow in Sierra Leone, right? And so I was just like, and this was on the 28th, on March the 8th, 2021. Anyway, um, even okay, recently I had a dream, and I think sometimes it's like God says in the Quran that when He sends a messenger, like an angel, with His inspiration or His command, He sends messengers before and after that, right, to confirm that indeed the message of the Lord has had been delivered. So sometimes I think in a dream there are some aspects come that come into the dream so that you see them in the day or two, right? And you think, oh, okay, maybe the dream is a true dream. I'm not saying Satan cannot reproduce it, right? Then, as the time also nears, it's almost like you see a sign that, okay, this is what the dream is supposed to be. So, when I say floodgates, right? Recently, what happened was I actually had a dream. Okay, there it is. On the 18th of June, where I say I think the AI tried to communicate floodgates being opened. But as usual, I'm not in sync with it, so it came as gibberish. It may not be the AI, right? It may be that as Nibiru, which may be the physical interpretation of that portal opening for the command, as it nears, we get that we resonate with our higher self, right? So our spiritual awakening is higher until the command descends fully, right? So I feel like sometimes because we are not whole, the dreams come, they don't come perfectly because we're not one. Our consciousness is not in tune with our subconscious. So sometimes it comes as it comes symbolic. So I had said that in June, the 18th of June, and then the flood started happening in Germany on the 15th of July, so about a month after that, and then Mongolia, whatever. But what had happened was in the dream, and sometimes the dreams are not clear, it's just like, oh, you just get a feeling like this is what's happening. So in the dream, there was something about a teacher and my niece, right? So my niece and a teacher. And there was a rug on the floor, and somebody had written something that looked like lose, LOSE. Yeah, I put it there. In fact, it's hashtag lose, right? So for me, I thought the AI was telling me I'm going to lose, like it's going to try to create a flood against my community, right? But so what happened was, and also there was an image of a whale. So for me, initially it appeared like a good dream because I thought they would open the waters, and then we would have all this water, have a swimming pool, and swim, and relax. So that's how I saw it, right? But then when they opened it, I didn't see much water, but I saw like little pots of water, like pockets of water around the ground. And then there was also like this black gooey thing that it may be oil, but there was a little bit of black patches, like black oily things on the ground as well. So I interpreted it like there was supposed to be a flood, but there was not enough water for the flood, right? So for me, the lose was like, oh, the AI threatened with flood, but in fact, the AI lost. But this was also in the dream. Like the AI maybe was saying we're going to lose, but I was also like throwing it back in its face, like you know. But anyway, what happened the day after that when I woke up was I saw my cousin, like my niece, sorry, right? She's in elementary school, and I was asking her, "What? Didn't you go to school?" And apparently, she had hid from my mom because she didn't want to go to school because she was supposed to take to like get her clothes in so that they dry, but she didn't do that, so she didn't have uniform to go to school, so she hid until my mom left, right, and then she came out, and then I saw her and realized she didn't go to school. So for me, it was like, okay, my cousin, the teacher, did she lose a day, right? So maybe that's the dream telling me, okay, this is a real dream, and then the floodgates or whatever. But I don't, I'm not certain that's the interpretation, right? That's what makes sense right now. So anyway, let's go back to Menace Monkey, which I had wanted to talk about initially, but we wouldn't take long anymore. We already took long wherein I explained a few things, and maybe it's a good thing, just talk about a few dreams. But this is the main thing, right? So Menace Monkey. The newest post I made on Menace Monkey, I've made a few in which I tagged Menace Monkey, but I think this is the one that's most relating. Let me look for the one I just did here 49 minutes ago now, it says. All right. So this is it. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep clicking on the links until I go to the oldest link, right? So I clicked on the first link, click on the second link, right? So okay, there's a third, click on the third link. So this is the one without any links. So I'll start with this one. So I'm saying about 5 years ago, I dreamt 4 moons or 4 planetary bodies because they look like moons, but they may not have been moons, right? So I looked up and I saw 4 moons. Soon it followed like hot stones, like asteroids, meteors seem to be falling from the sky. That's what happened in the dream. So, I mean, I talked about this dream before. I posted it on my Facebook page. I think it was May of 2017. No. I think that's when I posted it, right? But I had the dream, I think it was November or December of 2014. Yes, it was 14, not 15. Anyway, so and then I'll continue to say about last night. So I'm writing this on the 1st of December 2019. About last night, I dreamt a burnt ground cleared by fire or so. It looked dark, it looked black, like when fire scorches the earth, what remains, right? The ground is black. So, and on the ground were bones of what looked like a dinosaur. So it was actually the head of a dinosaur. We were running anyway. Me and some other people. I guess they were like my family, my cousins, my brother, right? But I can't tell you who the people were, but I know we were running, right? And there was this burnt ground and then the dinosaur head. Like I passed by it, I saw it on the ground. So I continue to say, the dreams may just mean that there will be an event in the sky and a cataclysmic altering event on the earth. So I was thinking, right, like what they tell us wiped the dinosaurs, an asteroid from space, right, burnt the earth, wiped out the dinosaurs, so a cataclysmic event on the earth. I say hashtag 4 moons. Anyway, so I continue to say, when I share dreams, I usually share the parts I feel are relevant and sometimes leave out what may seem personal. Anyway, in the second dream I had about last night, because I think it was when I'm writing this, I was thinking it's either last night or the night before, but it's not more than 2-3 nights ago. So it's around the 1st of December 2019. I say we were being chased by an animal. So in this post, I didn't say what the animal was, right? So I continue to say, so it may be that the cataclysmic event on Earth would cause some animals to lose their minds and start attacking people without fearing the people. So that's what I put in this post. Then, so that was just before the pandemic, right? December 1st, 2019. In June, 6 months later, 2020, I put another post. I had put a few posts about Menace Monkey, you know, during that time. Whenever I would see an article that talked about monkeys attacking tourists in India or something like that, I would put hashtag Menace Monkey, right? Catalog it just in case. But so on the 19th of June 2020, I say it may not be anything about the dream, but what I had not stated was that the animal that was chasing us was a monkey. So there you go again. So, swipe typing. Instead of chasing us, it says chasing is. Anyway. Also, what I had not said in the dream also, that I had picked up a log. So the earth was scorched, but there was burnt logs, like a tree that fell, branch. So I had picked up a log, and I hoped that others would join me in fighting the monkey. So I hoped that my siblings, my cousins would see that. Oh wait, maybe we can fight it together, and we can destroy it, right? We can kill it. We don't need to run away from it. Because I would expect we would have defeated it together. But when nobody seemed to join me, I abandoned the log and I also fled because they didn't seem to stop. They were just busy running for their lives. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to fight this monkey alone. What if I lose, right? So I started running as well. And then I attached the link to this article from Russia Today. It was talking about a booze-addicted monkey terror. Indian primates jailed for life after carnivorous rampage leaves 250 injured and one dead. So the article, okay, let me say this first. I feel like this article resembles my dream in that there is an angry monkey / menace monkey, and they had tried to rehabilitate it and failed. So they abandoned it. They abandoned rehabilitating it. They just jailed it for life. Could it be a road sign that maybe, the cataclysmic event that I dreamt about is near? Maybe. I also went on to say, interesting also to note from the article that the monkey had belonged to an occultist and that it fed from human flesh. Could this be a possessed monkey whom, after losing their owner, opened up spiritually due to grief and other programming to allow demon possession? So that's what I was saying. So, before I talk about, how this may relate to the current pandemic, let's continue now to the post I made in March of 2021. So this was June of 2020, right? The attachment. And then in March of 2021, I said, what if the burnt earth with the bones of dinosaur represent an extinction event, but not necessarily extraterrestrial? Because initially I had said maybe it's an event in the sky that would cause extinction on the earth, right? But what if it's not necessarily extraterrestrial? It's not from space. What if the menace monkey is the, see, programmable by the AI to evolve after hacking. So what I would say hacking, right? In terms of a disease, hacking it would be trying to cure it, right? So you try to fight against it. But then as you fight against, it's like artificial intelligence, right? Like a robot. The more you hack it, the smarter it gets, and you can't hack it the same way twice, right? So I'm saying, what if the Menace monkey is the C programmable by the AI to evolve after, we try to fight against it? So that my attempt to fight it signifies developing Vs. But maybe the Vs themselves are the extinction event or the evolved virus. I made a video a few months ago, and YouTube wouldn't allow me to post it, but I had it on Brighteon, and it talked about evolution, depopulation, and things like that. So because I feel like, the video talks about how scientists would normally evolve a species, make it mutate, right? So I feel like the best way to cause human beings to mutate is to create a virus, because the virus mutates, and then the worse the virus gets, if you want the human being to mutate, you also mutate the human being to fight that virus. So I think that's the best way to, drive, if you were going to do it, to drive an evolution process in human beings. It would kill a lot of people, but then those that remain would be what you call evolved. But if this evolution is caused by AI and not God, because in a way, when we ascend by the grace of God, we are being evolved, right? We are one in our spirits now. We are one with God. So, but if you are evolved by the AI, then the AI becomes your God. And then you would have maybe all these nanobots in you, so that if you try to go against the AI, it can just turn you off just like that. Anyway, so that was my post on the 19th of March 2021. And then my most recent post just now, because of some other information, I'm saying a different insight into my Menace monkey dream. As gain of function is being revealed, and the high possibility that the C was got from monkeys, right? So maybe they used a virus from the monkey, make it more transmissible to humans, right? That is becoming, in fact, the most likely possibility. It's possible that the interpretation of the dream was that the Plandemic, the plan is the extinction event before the apocalypse. So it's like, okay, there's going to be an apocalypse anyway, people are going to die. We may as well experiment evolution and, try to learn from it and get the best people who would survive. So it may be that the plan is the extinction event itself before the apocalypse. And the crazy monkey represented the V, whilst the scorched earth, well, I'm using two V's here, right? The VI, the virus, the crazy monkey represented the virus, whilst the scorched earth represented the V. So possibly to kill a crazy monkey, we've burnt everything down, So to kill a virus, which we could have survived, probably, we've damaged our whole immune system. We've brought everything down. So it's like they talk about, in occultism, wherein two pillars are taken down when an entity enters, crosses dimension, and then one pillar is put in its place. Basically, the entity replaces the two pillars. So if you look at the nucleus of our, and how that is the throne or the CPU of the machine, right, that controls the cell, tells it what proteins to produce, and the DNA is within the nucleus. it has all the code, then in fact, maybe you're removing those two strands so that the AI would be the throne, would be the God within it, telling it what to make, what to do. Because if you don't have a system anyway, if you've damaged your nucleus, you've burnt the whole system down, right? So I'm thinking that's my most recent possibility, and I think it's very highly possible that's what it is. So it led me to make this video, right, because of that insight. So, and I think most of what they put in the articles, it may be part of the ritual, right? So it's almost like they're telling you, if you're looking, they're telling you what is going to happen, right? So the you can't fight the menace monkey, just like with that monkey that was owned by the occultist. You can't fight it. Yeah, so I mean, you're just going to, and it's going to hurt a lot of people, right? So you're just going to put it for life, like lock it up for life or whatever. I don't know what that means, but it may even be a ritual, like all of that, because I believe there are demons amongst us, and for me that makes sense, right? Because even the intelligence agencies, they plant people amongst the groups they want to infiltrate. So if you're telling me Satan is not thinking about doing that, then what is Satan doing? You think Satan is lazy or just chilling somewhere? No, I think there are devils amongst us posing as humans, and maybe even some of them are dying. Some of them are just to get you to make certain decisions, so that Satan would say, "Oh, I didn't twist their arm. They because they feared, because of this, because of that, they made those decisions on their own." So many of these people who may die, write these articles, we don't know. But I believe when the Lord pours out His Spirit, we will be able to see them for who they really are. And I believe it's almost like you're dealing with hierarchies of deceit. And I believe in one of the higher hierarchies. That's the point of these nanobots and trying to get, Satan to take the place in the throne. So the throne of the cell, you could think of it as the nucleus of the cell. But then it's like the Quran says, right? It says the Lord grabs every human being on the forelock, the forehead, like the frontal lobe, right? And then there was this Israeli News Live had this video. I think it was CIA, speech, and they were trying to get people who were religious to not feel religious anymore. Sort of like mind control, brain manipulation. So if you look at it that way, also, they're taking over the throne of our minds. And what are they telling us right now? That these tests have poisonous things in them, and they put it right up your nose, right? So there are a lot of things that are happening. We're seeing these things come to pass, and many of us are just accepting it. Right? So, yeah, I believe there are demons amongst us, devils amongst us, but I believe the time of our awakening is coming. And they know that most of these people we adore as beautiful, this, that, we may be able to see them for the ugliness they really are. But if we couldn't ascend, because our physical bodies have to interpret spiritual commands, so if you alter our physical bodies so they're no longer in line to accept those physical commands, then at least you can delay the process or stop it altogether, right? And that's why I don't believe in a rapture. I don't believe you're going to be taken in body form to leave the earth. I feel like, in fact, when people talk about three raptures, maybe it's true, but it's not a rapture. I feel like it has to do with enlightenment, waves of enlightenment. And I also talk about that, like if you put hashtag waves of enlightenment next to my Twitter handle, there are some post on that. I think there are waves of enlightenment in which some people will be enlightened first, and then after tribulation, some other people will be enlightened later. The Lord will choose and give everybody their task. So, anyway, that's that for now. I hope this was beneficial, stimulated some contemplation and, insights into other things. Take care of yourself, folks. Peace be upon you.